Good evening, everyone. Did you know that pigs are physically unable to look up in the sky? Well, if that piqued your interest, join us for another episode of Two Average Joes with your hosts from Lake Havasu, Arizona, Tony P., and from Long Beach, California, Joe Kelly. So grab your favorite beverage, kick back and relax for the next hour. Without further ado, I bring you Two Average Joes.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Tony. How about you, brother?
Good. Got a little tidbit for me?
Oh, I got a nice little piece of tidbit for you here. Okay, something I never thought about. Tigers have stripes underneath their fur that matches the stripes on their fur.
No, so if you shave them, you see the same thing.
It'd be a skinhead version of a tiger, but you'd still know it was a tiger because it'd still have all the stripes.
So you can't fool a tiger in sheep's clothes.
That's what happens, maybe, and it's exactly what happens here. So, any tidbits for me today?
Well, I do have some tidbits, but I saw this one question and it was just so interesting. I thought I'm going to hit you hard. I'm going to hit you below the belt right off the bat.
Okay, all righty.
If you could prevent a catastrophic event by sacrificing one innocent person, would you do it? Prevent a catastrophic event by sacrificing one innocent person, would you do it?
No, I wouldn't. And the reason I wouldn't, because I don't think I have the judgment necessary to decide who that person's going to be. It's like, you know what? I think you're indispensable. You're saving humanity. Take a bow. But so it's like, I'm not sure. I mean, that's just something I never want to I've had asked questions like that before. And I just like, nope, I'll just take the fifth. I want you to sacrifice me then for the good of humanity. Go ahead and take me my life. I'm good to go.
And I would imagine even with like both individuals through life, there definitely would be some guilt, sensitivity that you'd be dealing with because, okay, well, why was I picked? And then you'd be like, well, why couldn't I save two instead of one? You know what I mean?
Right.
Nothing's ever the way we like it to go. It's just the way it is.
That's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. That's a good question.
I really didn't know which way you'd go on that one. That's why I like it. Some of these, I know you well enough. I'm like, okay, I know he's leaning this way, but this one was so out of the blue.
Well, it's interesting because my wife doesn't like science fiction, but I've turned her on to some science fiction lately that she's just absolutely loved. And one of them was old school. It was the search for it was the Wrath of Khan from Star Trek.
Oh yeah, good one.
And see, I was trying to explain to her, look, the original episode's called Space Seed, and that was on the original 3 seasons of Star Trek. And Ricardo Montalban was buffed. He was a young man, all buffed out. Well, they decided to reprise that role later after they did the Star Trek, the motion picture. They did The Wrath of Khan, which they introduced Kirstie Alley as a new actress. Kirstie Alley was introduced on that.
Of Cheers.
Exactly.
What else was she 3.5 Men? Not her herself, but was she the mother in 3.5 Men? When remember it was what Travolta? I forget who it was. Was it Bruce Willis?
Right, I know you're talking about
Ted Danson.
Yeah. Ted Danson was one.
And there was 3 of them, right? They had to raise the baby. And
right.
I thought she was the mother, but
I don't think she was. I might be wrong, but who knows? But let me see. So Ricardo Montalban
there. You got your robot there.
Well, first of all, Ricardo Montalban was in this remake, and they said, "Well, look, he's 40 years older. How are we going to reprise that?" So they built prosthetics. Right. They did rubber suit on him to give him all the muscles that he used to have when he was a kid. It was pretty.
What about the face?
Still, I mean, they just did makeup. Still looks handsome, Ricardo, he's Hispanic, It's like Cordova, real Corinthian leather. Remember that guy, Cordova?
Well, he had it going on.
It
wasn't called the Fantasy Island by accident.
That's right. They played. That's right. So that's exactly right.
And I heard that little dude was a sex maniac. That guy was like, he would like rack it up with the chicks. That was his big thing, going to the bars and picking up. God, I keep always saying the wrong chick. Picking up lovely women.
Lovely women. But we're regular guys. We're average Joes, and that's what we call them. We call them chicks. We call them babes. We call them babes. So in case we forget their name, we won't mess up the name. So that's what.
And it's not a mean thing. I mean,
no, it's not.
A lot worse things to be called.
Okay.
I hear it every day.
I got a question for you. Yeah. How do you take your how do you best receive criticism? How do you best receive it?
When I'm sleeping. No.
That's close to my response, though.
You know what? I don't know. I would like to say face to face, but that's not always possible anymore because people, like if you were going to say something to me of a serious nature, you would call me or something.
Right.
but but part of me wants to say almost in an email, because instead of reacting in the conversation, or maybe being resistant at first or whatever it is, I think being able to actually think about what I'm being told
Right.
would give me time to digest it, and probably be a little bit more fair and saying, you know what, yeah, yeah, I could probably work on that. But that list is so long. It's like shit. I get calls all day, right? I go, yeah.
Well,
Hold on. I got my cousin on the other line. I'll be right with you. Okay. So what else about me?
hey, well, make a list. But
Make a
I
list.
actually what
Checked
I
it
said,
twice.
how the best way to I receive criticism is if I ask for it. Because if you give me
But then again,
criticism,
you don't know that you're ever hearing. I guess there's some people that are being honest with you, but most of the time, I don't know. I think people still sugarcoat things because they don't want the conflict.
I don't know. Not everybody sugarcoats it, but I just think it's like, look, to me, unless you're my direct boss, which I don't have one, if you want to give me criticism, I'm not asking for it. I don't want your criticism. It's like, I want to give you some, I want to critique this for you. Well, then find yourself a platform, dude, because I'm not really in the mood to listen to what you got to say because opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. So I
But
just,
but in a sense, depending how it's done, there's still probably opportunity and responsibility to coach and train someone.
now that's a different story though. If my mentor, and if you're going to be my mentor, you have to be strong enough to tell me, cut the crap, Kelly. I'm not going to put that's ridiculous. I need a strong mentor. But if my mentor says, "Hey, can I tell you something?" Yes, please. You know what? You shouldn't do this. I would rather you do this. And it's like, hey, got it done, noted, perfect, great. So if I ask for criticism, that's one thing. But if I'm not doing something, and guy goes, hey, do you mind if I make an observation? I said, I don't know what it's about. It's about your behavior, what you're doing. It's like, well, then no, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Peace out.
Right, right.
You
Well,
know,
behavior is a completely different. Yeah, that's a realm of management that isn't quite as black and white. But I would say that when I received counseling from a boss or a DM or someone like that, right?
right?
I think most of them are pretty much to the point. I think by the time you get to that level, you have to know how to create a relationship with each of your people,
Right.
and you know this from multi management and large, like look at like Torrance, right? Remember working Torrance? What, three bartenders in a bar back on, maybe 24 servers, possibly
And a service
26.
bar, too, a service bar in the
Right.
back as
And a
well.
service bar, right. Three hostesses, couple managers, kitchens, fucking staff. I mean, it was an operation. There was a lot
Exactly.
going down.
Exactly.
And I think in those situations, you have to be able to coach and counsel people, but yeah, you have to do it in a polite way. Even now, even though I'm not in that same realm, if I'm thinking about helping someone in what I think is my opinion, I don't say, hey, you should do this, or you're doing this wrong. It's more like, here's what I would do, and that's it. And just because I would do it doesn't mean you should do it. Does I'm not always right, but or I'll say, oh, well, this is the way it's just like telling someone this is the way I look at it. You're not questioning their belief.
Right.
You're just saying, hey, this is my take. I'm all good with your take.
See, there's something I learned a long time ago that I use all the time. And if you know me and you're watching this, you're like, oh, that's what he does. Well, it's like you may say something that I know is just dead wrong. I'm not going to call you on that. I'm going to say, whoa, wait a minute. Hey, Tony, could you do me a favor? Could you explain that to me? Because I guess I learned it a different way. If you could explain it to me like I'm a third grader, I'd appreciate it because I missed the whole point. And as that person is starting to explain it, they go, "Oh, wait a minute, it was me that made the
Right,
mistake." So that's a much better way than going, "Hey, dumbass, you just screwed that one up. Let's try that one again."
right. I got a little tidbit.
Okay, tidbits too.
Darwin, Charles, Abraham Lincoln, both born on the same day, 12th of February, 1809.
Wow.
Lost their mothers both young, taught themselves, mostly themselves, without any type of formal schooling. Crazy. Two people, same day, same situation, lose their mother, go on to be, without argument, two of the most known names in history, right?
Wow. I'm not sure if they do this anymore, but at one time, you and I have both experienced traveling back east, and you go through a toll road and you got to throw coins into the toll basket. I mean, we
Yeah.
did that all the time. Nebraska is the only state that allows you to use pennies in their change. It's because it's Lincoln, the land of Lincoln. Lincoln was, I mean, Illinois. Was it Illinois or no, not
Right.
Illinois?
So,
Illinois is where he's from.
Illinois.
Illinois. So the land of Lincoln, if that's where he's from, you at that time you could throw pennies in there because it was the land of Lincoln, and you could
So
use
now they're
those.
not minting them. So what is that? No more.
Well, that's interesting here because I've been collecting, and I not proof sets. I don't like proof sets, and proof sets are made in San Francisco, and they're double stamped on better quality metal, and they have a better alloy, ratio. But
They
I
weren't
don't.
made for circulation.
Right. But what I like are the ones that are called uncirculated. So you buy a set of coins that's comes encased in plastic and that's never been used. And so I have a set from 1961 when I was born for every year except 2 years where they didn't have them from both Philadelphia and Denver. They didn't have from those two. They just had one set from San Francisco. So I'm going to get those, but I got to acquire those from somebody I can trust and not just buy them on eBay so somebody rips me off. But here's something interesting. Listen to this now. This
Right.
year, I've been buying sets consciously for years. Last year, a full set uncirculated. It's one page from Denver, one page from Philadelphia was
Right.
$34.95. This year was $125. It was limited. I happened to be in a club, so to speak, that they let me know when it happens, and they got my credit card, and I'll tell you how many I want. So I'm in the queue automatically. The day that they're made available, they let you know, hey, you click here and you'll be in the queue to buy them. And so I had to wait 10 minutes to buy them, and so I bought 6 sets of these coins, and 2 hours later they were unavailable. So it's like
Now,
they're only
when did the
300,000
penny
sets.
stop? When did they stop making the penny out of copper?
This year was the last. Well, out of copper, they haven't used a lot of copper for a long time. I'd have to look exactly
Been a
what it
while.
is. Yeah, it has been a while.
Like even when we were kids, it was still already mixed. They
There
were
might have been,
diluting it
yeah,
already.
because straight copper. I mean, it's like you ever been on a construction site and somebody's like, "Man, they stole all our wiring." Yeah, because it's copper. It's worth a lot of money, and so somebody will steal it off there and go take it down to a recycling center and make $300 or $400 off that stuff. It's pretty
Right.
pricey. But I'm banking on. I told my wife. I said, she goes, "You spent $612 on what?" Actually, I bought 5 sets. Excuse me. I said I bought 5 sets of these. One for my set to add to it, and I bought four that I'm going to let just mature in value. And when I decide to sell them, I'm going to
Right.
sell them. So, but they only made 300 sets, and they said there are no more available. I don't know if they're going to print more, but I got the first run, and they're not available. And I'm thinking if they don't make any more, that's going
Right.
to make some serious value to coins.
Cha-ching.
And my entire set of every coin that was uncirculated print between 1961 and now, how much, since they don't do pennies anymore, how much is that going to be worth?
Right.
So I don't do it for myself. I do it for my grandkids, that one day when they're older, they might be able to buy a motor home or, pay their mortgage or something with it. But it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. So
Isn't with a coin collecting? Isn't the oil from our fingers? Isn't that a big deal? Like you're not supposed to touch these coins. Even just that little bit of contact reduces the value, or it starts to oxidate the coin or
Well,
something. I'm
yes,
not,
yes
is
and
that
no.
true?
Well, yes and no, but I have had coins that I got polished and they lose all their value. You want what's called a patina, which is like that natural aged look, and sometimes it can be old as dirt, look terrible. I've got a set of coins that I just bought for novelty. It's all the coins that were made during World War II. And so there's the Standing Liberty dime, that's just really cool. You got a 90% silver coin with a Standing Liberty on there, and the $half the same way. And you think about it, it was Eisenhower on the $half until Kennedy got shot, and the next year they put Kennedy on the $half. So there's all these historical things that are kind of
Really?
cool. Yeah, kind of cool. And old Donald J. Trump wants to have a coin, and he wants to have money with his picture on it. Also,
Oh, why
turning
not?
he's turning into a king, I guess. So, okay, but all
Maybe
right. So
bring the penny back.
I don't know. I think he was
Sorry.
one of the proponents of getting rid of it.
It's
Now
like
here's just
sorry, like Lincoln, you got bumped.
here's another tidbit since you're looking at things. Australia is actually wider than the moon.
Australia.
The continent of Australia is wider. If you put the
Right.
moon right next to it, is wider than the diameter of the moon. People don't realize how
Is
small that
Australia
thing is.
wider than the U.S.?
No, it's not. In fact, the moon is about I don't know, a little bit bigger than Texas, I think, something like that. That sounds about right because
Okay.
Texas and Australia are about the same size. So
Just one thing Texas doesn't do bigger is moon.
this is true. Now they do moon pies. We don't do moon pies out here. There's nothing like a
No,
moon pie and a RC cola to make you feel
awesome.
good on a hot summer day, man, my lad. That's what it is. Okay,
Uh,
I have a question for
yep,
you.
yep.
All righty. If someone wanted to annoy you, Tony, and do it really easily, what would they have to do to annoy you? What would they could do to you to annoy you easily?
Oh, to annoy me.
Yes.
Wow. Well, I guess the easy first thing that come to mind would be rude to somebody. Like if we were, having lunch or whatever, and they were rude to the server or something like that. That's a no go with me.
Amen. I like
Um,
that too.
yeah, or anybody, any service person, and I've even been short sometimes, but in all bias, fairness, I was usually correct. But again, I think people are treated well. Treat other people well. What's this Sopranos old quote? You don't, something you don't earn respect. Respect is earned, not given.
Respect. That makes sense. I've been watching
So
that because of you, my friend. I've just been watching it just to let you
yeah,
know.
great show. But that's great advice. That's like you could slide that in the Bible somewhere and it would fly.
Hey,
Treat
make
people how you want to be treated. Actually, isn't that how the Bible words it? Or no? Is
do
there a
unto
Bible?
others as you would have them do unto you. That's one there. So,
I think that sums it up. Even
well, I
close.
say, honestly, I'm one of those kind of people that say, treat me better than I treat myself because I'm a real jerk to myself sometimes. So if you treat me better than I treat myself, we'll be okay. So that's
Right. Well, I think generally we can be our worst, enemies in many ways. We're
yeah.
more judgmental about ourselves. And
No, exactly. Okay, I'll tell you something that can easily annoy me, and it's just happened to me recently. I'm an adamant person. So sometimes I'll get adamant about a point, and I'll give that
right,
backyard barbecue voice, and I just want you to know. And
right,
this guy that I hang out with, he's a couple years older, and he thinks he's mentoring me. He's like, just calm down, just calm down. And I'm like, fucker, I'm gonna punch you in the face if you tell me to calm me down one more time. That's what makes me
right,
angry when you tell me to calm
right,
down and you have no idea what you're talking about.
right,
It's like
right.
then I turn into a raging asshole. It's like, no, I'll
Right.
show you now. It's like I'm gonna get mad now. I
It's
hate
like
that.
it's like telling the significant other, "Hey, you need to mellow out." Well,
It's like
here's what's not going to happen.
that's
There'll
right.
be no mellowing out now.
It's like, do you like to spoon? Well, that's the way the couch feels for you tonight, asswipe, because you'll be sleeping there with your girlfriend in the back of the couch. That's what you'll be
Right.
doing.
Or maybe for more safety, lock yourself in a car.
No kidding. It's like, well, I think that I make jokes about that sometime. My wife says, "Hey, I know where you sleep." And I'd make a joke that we both have seen Burning Bed, so I don't really want to piss her off too much because she knows it.
Right,
We know how
right,
that
right.
earns.
Or Lorraine Bobbitt or whatever.
Exactly. Oh, ooh, that's an ugly one too.
Hey, little financial. It's not really a true or false. It's more of a guesstimation, and I'm not going to give you multiple choice. If you wanted to open a Taco Bell, what would the financial needs be? Like, what would you need in net
Hmm.
worth and cash available? What are they looking for someone in their tier of available cash and income?
I think that for something like that, because I kind of have an idea what McDonald's was at one time, and that's really old data. But my guess is anywhere between a $500,000 and three-quarters of a million to get yourself involved. They want to see that kind of equity that you could draw from to buy into this restaurant. And I don't know what the time involvement, like some places, like you need to be there like a Chick-fil-A. It makes some serious money, but you got to be there all the flipping time, So.
Right, and some chains have even harsher restrictions. Big Bear Diner, you got a Big Bear Diner near you, or you
I've
been
been
to
to
one
Big
in
Bear
Oregon
Diner
or?
in Big Bear. There's a Big Bear Diner in Big Bear I've been to. Yeah. So
Oh, okay. So a Black Bear Diner, no, Black Bear Diner,
oh, I know what you're talking
and
about, right? Yeah.
if you franchise one of those, you sign off that you will not even have any other business, period,
Wow.
and definitely no other restaurant.
Wow.
They want that to be your main focus, and they're serious about it. So, and I got to tell you, I mean, I don't eat there a lot because it's shit, man. I mean, I like a fair portion, but they're huge, and I don't go out to breakfast much and stuff. But when I have gone there, they do it right. They got it down. I hand it to those guys. I'm gonna throw an interesting fact at you because we don't
Wait a
really,
minute, wait a minute. You
we
never
don't think
told
of
us
it
how
like
much it
50 years
cost.
ago.
Wait a minute. You never told us how much it
Oh,
cost.
1.5 million, but you were right
Wow.
about the three-quarter. You were right about the three-quarter mil. That's what you need cash ready.
Right.
So you got to be liquid. three-quarters of a mil. So you hit that right on the head. So I was so impressed. I skipped the rest, but the end result would be 1.5.
That makes sense. That makes sense. It's probably that or 2 million now for McDonald's because it was at one time it was $1 million for a franchise. I remember that, and I thought, well, I mean, you will make your money back, but they also with McDonald's, I know this for a fact because I used to do with Ron Piazza owns all the well, I think there's three McDonald's type stores he owns in Lakewood, and he also owns the original one over there on Florence and Lakewood Boulevard. He owns that one with the arches, and he has the
Oh, the
rights.
original.
Yeah, well, it's not the original. The original is down in San Bernardino, I think.
San Bernardino, right,
Yeah,
right.
but the one that's original up here, Florence and PCH, I mean Florence and Lakewood, is still there, and it's been renovated with Speedy and the whole thing in front. So that's his also. And he told me at a Rotary Club meeting one time. He says the nice thing about this is I started as a flip cook, a fry cook, and
Right.
the owner's wife inherited from him because he died, and she loved him so much that he worked there, ended up being the manager, and she sold the rights to him. So he had the rights to this first McDonald's in Lakewood. Oh, lost you again here. Oh my gosh, there you go. First world problem. Just that he was telling me that he has the rights to buy any McDonald's that opens up in Lakewood. He gets the first rights to buy that. So if they want to open a strip mall
Really?
and put it in there, or like a
Yeah.
food court and put it there, he gets first rights to it. So he lives over there in Lakewood
Well,
Estates
because
as
don't they
well.
have like zones? Like when you have a franchise like that, a lot of times it's territory,
Yeah, exactly.
meaning, like you said, either you get the first right of refusal or you
Yeah.
can just go start popping them up, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's the way it works. So I mean, he made millions because of McDonald's,
Yeah.
and he lives in the nicest. He lives on like the 16th hole or 15th hole of the Lakewood Country Club.
I mean, it's definitely a numbers game. I'm pretty sure, like, let's say you owned one McDonald's, you probably bought yourself a job,
Yeah.
somewhat of an easy job, but you still have to. There's involvement.
Well, you don't want to go and
You
play
got
golf
10
every day and let them do what they
McDonald's,
want to do, you know?
right? You got 10 McDonald's, you're on a different ballgame.
Yeah.
Now you are out golfing.
Well, you've got people that are working for you, like, who are taking care of all your stuff, and you get together. All right,
Right.
tell me the numbers. All right. And I mean, it's if you're making, say, well, like if a Walmart manager makes a 500,000 a year and with bonuses can make 1 million, then a McDonald's manager can probably do about that much himself. And so it's
Right.
like if I was going to have multiple ones and I was going to make 500,000 a year, then I would probably take a portion of that and pay three people who are incredible managers to manage everything for me. And so you just take off some of the responsibilities and have them do all the
Right.
day to day, and you just looking at P&Ls and stuff like that, just making sure everybody's got their.
Well, and you almost need that in a sense because let's say you had 7 to 10 McDonald's. Your ability at that point, okay, so now you're basically a district manager, director of operations, whatever. But that's still a hefty load. So your ability to keep a deep pulse on each location is very difficult. So at that point, like you said, you have to have another 1, 2 people split that up. And now they're breaking down the pieces because the only thing you want to hear at this point is the good and the bad. And you really don't even want to hear that. What's the bad? What do we need to fix? What do we need to fix?
Right.
What do we need to fix? I don't need to celebrate more. Hey, store number 3 is up 10,000 this month. That means fuck to me.
Right. I think
Doesn't
that
mean you brought the 10 to the bottom line. What's the problems in the store? That's what I want to fix.
I think we need to acquire the Tim Klein method of visitation. It's like, hey, the owner's in the area. He might be showing up just to let you know. And you just, every day, you just go, I'm going to go have a cup of coffee. It doesn't cost you anything to make yourself a cup of coffee. Go see what's going on. See if there's some problems. Just look at because I had this guy in construction I work for, and we'd do a tear out of a room, and you have to tear everything out. And he'd say, no, I want you to tear the nails. I want you to vacuum out everything. I want it to be crystal clear, beautiful. I said, well, why? If we're just going to build over it, he says, because when they come to inspect it, if they see what you have done in taking care of what they can see, they're not going to worry so much about what they can't see. And you're going to get a better inspection. Right. So I just think that's
smart.
When you walk into a restaurant, I mean, I know, and my daughters and son used to get pissed. I go, we're leaving. Why? Because I've watched them in the kitchen while I'm waiting and what they're doing. I want no part of this restaurant. You have to understand me. I don't want a guy who's picking his nose, touching my food. I just don't want that, So, I mean, there's things you and I know to look at. I mean, I've sat there with people and I've known what I've ordered and I see it sitting up in the window dying. And I tell somebody, hey, excuse me, could you do me a favor? It's like, like, I don't know if I really want my steak anymore because it's been dying in the window for about 10 minutes. Could you just either bring the manager to me or fix me another steak because I'm not eating that one. That's dog food now. So that's, I mean, I'm particular that way. Or I'll say, hey, could you do me a
Right.
favor? Can you give me a ramekin of mayonnaise? And they're like, "Ooh, shit, that's a restaurant term." Or the
Right.
best one, what I like to do is I don't drink anymore. When I used to drink, I would go to if there's an hour wait or whatever, I go to the bar and I'd say, okay, where's the service end? And I go down there and say, I want a double Stoli cranberry with 2 limes. And then I'd tip him $5. And I'd stand there and I'd have my drink and I'd make sure I have another one in that hour. And so when I got to the table, I had a third one. So the waiter's going up to the guy and he's going, hey, I need a Stoli, double Stoli on the rock, splash of cranberry, 2 limes. And the guy goes, dude, take care of this guy. He's tipped me $10 already on 2 drinks. Your service amazing. Or you tip the busser. Ven acá,
Right.
por favor. Para ti,
Keep
señor.
the
No,
table
it's
keep the table clean, right?
this is not tip share. No, it's tip share way. Es por
Yeah.
tuyo solamente. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, thank you.
Put that
So
in your pocket, right?
that's right. Just got to be smart about those things. All right. All right.
Most places in the South, of like schools or whatever, they they honor the Revolutionary General Benjamin Lincoln, but
Hmm.
most people think they're referring to Abraham Lincoln. So let's say it was like Lincoln Middle School. In the South, is what they're saying is it's not even Abraham Lincoln, and in a way that would sort of make sense because I mean, think about it. First of all, Abraham Lincoln was the. I mean,
Well, this is
I
the
don't think
truth.
the people with Confederate flags were praising Lincoln.
Well,
Abraham,
I'll tell you, this is a true fact, and I know it's still there because when I talked to my redneck friends about taking away the name Braves, they said they're gonna
right?
have to pry from our dead hands. That's what's gonna happen because we ain't changing our name for nobody. In the town of Monroe is your atypical cliche town center with the courthouse there and
Right.
the red bricks and the flagpole, and there's a
Back to the
stat.
Future,
There's
the downtown, the city
exactly.
hall,
It
right?
is that much of a cliche. And there's a statue in the center, taller than probably a 12-foot statue of a man, and it says, "For our
Fantastic.
fallen comrades in arms." It's a Confederate
Really?
monument. And they
Right.
wanted, and the woke people during 2020 said, we're going to tear that down. And the city council said, try. You're not going to do it. It's
Yeah,
like,
and you can't blame the soldiers. The soldiers are just doing what they're told to do. Now, I don't know if that was all voluntary back then. I have no idea during the Civil War. I doubt it
well, the
because there
ideology
wasn't
has
even that
changed so
many
much.
people.
But see, you have to look at what was going on. Industrial in the north, you've got agriculture in the south. And that happened because when you had John Rolfe came there in the 1600s, the second time they went to Jonestown, and he took illegal tobacco seeds from Spain, and that nobody was supposed to have
How many
it
soldiers were killed in the Civil War? I'm listening.
more than any war in the world, more than anything.
That is true.
500,000, half a million.
620,000 to
Yeah,
seven hundred fifty
yeah,
thousand.
yeah. It's crazy.
360 for the Union, the North, and 260 Confederate base on traditional records, however they kept them at that.
You would never get a cooperation across that line from agricultural
And
to industrial. Never.
and what's amazing about that is you're talking about same country.
Yeah.
Like there's wars that we've lost whatever 6,000 soldiers and other side lost X amount, which either even then don't even combine total this. But this was same soil lost.
Well, I heard a comedian. First of all, it's like if it was a war against Republicans, Democrats, it'd be about 10 minutes long. Republicans would kick the Democrats' ass because they'd be hugging a tree, and some guy goes, "Take your rocket launcher and hit those 4 trees right over there because they're hiding right behind there."
Well, they certainly took care of business in the Civil War.
Well,
I mean,
it's just true.
Lincoln freed freeing the slaves was. I got to tell you, when Twee took her immigration tests, there's 100 questions, and you have to get and they're going to ask you 10, and you got to get 6 right. But anyway, out of the 100 questions, I was really surprised that because I mean we have a lot of history, right? So I'm not talking negative about the topics, but probably a third, maybe almost 45% of the questions were definitely based on Civil War time and civil actions, like Martin Luther King or something like that. Very defined, not a little bit on the George Washington, Lincoln. The obvious top 3 are going to pop up, right?
Right.
But a lot of it was really based around that era.
Well,
Uh,
the thing is, you're going to get wrong about people when they start talking about the Continental Congress and everything. They give these guys such accolades, but honestly, and this is proven, they were foobar. They were drinking so heavily during all that stuff, and they'd have these meetings, and they'd all retire to these different pubs to have dinner and drink and debate into the night. And they had scribes that would walk around and go, "Okay, now today, what were you talking about?" and have to get things down because these guys were so drunk they didn't know what they were doing half the time. But the water wasn't very good, so they had to drink. It's like, they just had to drink the wine so they didn't get sick from dysteria from the water. Was it distemper or dysentery from the water? So
right.
craziness.
So, and I'm sure we probably agree on this. So it's semi-boring, but I'd love to hear your take. A lot of chat about, oh, we need the popular votes, back in time, and it was Jim Crow or whatever. I don't even know how that even affects it because slavery and most of what was taking place was pretty much in like 5 states. But anyway, we all know if it was a popular vote, New York and LA are going to decide everything for the whole country. It was added up.
Most number
And
of
so you got two
seats.
coastlines deciding everything for, 47, 48 other states. So, however, the Electoral College came about, and I have no idea. So, I'm talking ignorance. I don't know if that was part of our Constitution. I don't know if that was from the beginning. But whenever it was developed for that reason. That the middle of the country is not as populated. I remember when me and Twee were driving back from Colorado and we were going through the top of New Mexico, and there's houses, just, 10, 20, 50, 30 acres of land. That's how often you'd see them, right? And some of them were like a mobile home with this huge land, but with this red rock mountain backdrop. I'm like, that's the richest fucking guy in the world right there. Having
Yeah.
coffee on that back porch, looking
Yeah.
up at that mountain. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, that's what
But
Sue and
I
I have
told
talked to.
her my hold on, my point is I told her at that point, she goes, well, there's nobody out here. And I said, and that's why we have an electoral college.
Yeah. Well, I happen to agree with you. There's got to be a happy medium somewhere because you need the popular vote because we are voting people in office. Now, at the same time, I think you could use both of them. I don't think that you should just use electoral college. I think should use that as a gauge. If you've got a state that's predominantly red and all of a sudden they're swinging with the blue vote, it's like that's something to look at. What's going on here? So it should be, well, I guess they win this one. It's like, no, there might be a mistake somewhere. Maybe you have to have best 2 out of 3 systems to say, okay, these 2 systems are right,
Okay,
and they call the winner
so
together.
the reason that happens is talking red and blue. A lot of states, Arizona, Phoenix, Denver that's the population of Colorado. All these states have metropolises that are so large that, like in Arizona, even though the whole rest of the state is red, that blue controls everything.
Yeah,
And that's a popular vote. And that's how it would go down.
yeah,
But the difference is when you start talking sheer volume of East Coast, West Coast, there wouldn't even be a chance. You wouldn't even have to bother running against them because it's a slam dunk. So
yeah.
anyway, I just think that's why it's important because the little people need a vote. Now, if you try to say, oh, I want to massage the two of them, can you put 50-50 weight on both? I mean, it seems like at some point you'd come to a standstill every time.
I don't know. That's
There
a
has to
good
be
question. I don't know because I mean, obviously there's some holes in our system right now. I mean, there are, and I don't know what is going to fix those things because I mean, you're talking about civil war. We're close to a civil war, it seems to me, with our people with the left and the right. I mean, we haven't been this divided since the Civil War.
right.
I mean, it upsets me that I mean, if you and I were of different parties, that we can't sit here and talk. I mean, the average person talking to each other, it's like, you don't agree with me? You're what? You're Republican? Well, screw you. I don't want to deal with you at all, you idiot. And that just seems
Well,
ridiculous.
I don't know if you remember. I don't even know if it was a show that we've broadcasted. It might have been one of the previous ones, but we had a conversation once where I told you that back in like 1970 something, whatever, 1980, 15% of the population of the U.S. polled as saying they were in favor of socialism. And then a recent poll in 2024, 2025 showed that 38%. And I remember telling you, I'm like, at 15%, you're like, okay, whatever. It's like the Green Party, right? But at 38%, you're like, fuck, that's pretty close to 50. Last week announced 48%.
But see, the people that are saying that that's okay, don't understand. You're moving towards socialism, so you're letting the government make decisions with your money, with your
You're
life, what you're going to
giving
do.
everything up. We think we have a
Everything.
lot of rules now. You
Everything.
have no fucking idea.
Dude, they will do away with all money. You will not be able to save money. If you piss people off, they'll close your accounts down like they do in China, so you don't even have access to your electronic money. It's
I'm going to Vietnam in 2 weeks.
right.
They're very strict on the visas. And the day that I arrive where I'm staying, and it doesn't matter whether you stay at a hotel or a family member's house or whatever, that entity or that person has to go to the local police station or via email with the embassy, and they have to register that you're in their home
Wow.
or their hotel.
Wow. Didn't know that. My wife's son went to Vietnam for, 2 weeks. I didn't know that he had to do that.
Just started.
Wow. Wow.
That's what I mean. Even they're cracking down. A lot of people are cracking. Europe's starting to crack down because there's a lot of shit going down in Europe.
Yeah, yeah. I got
And I
friends of
think they're
mine.
starting to crack down on visitors and who's staying and whatnot.
Well, I have friends that have bought tickets already to go to Turkey, and I'm like, "Are you sure you want to go to Turkey right now? That's kind of
Nah, that's a little. You're
that's the
right on
wrong
the edge
side.
there.
That's right on the wrong side of the
No.
Aegean. I'd rather be a little north of that somewhere, Italy or maybe
Listen, I was
Macedonia or
nervous about
something.
flying to Vietnam, but I'm like, okay, well, at least I'm going over the Pacific and I'm landing above that fucking chaos.
Yeah, it's true.
But Turkey, you're down on the bottom edge.
You're in the mid east. The Middle
Right,
East is right below you. So you've
right,
got Turkey here. You've got Turkey and then the Aegean and then Greece and then Italy.
right,
And
yes, right,
so I'd rather be on Greece at least, and maybe in the north part of Greece, looking at the
right,
Aegean
but
from
not
that side.
Cyprus, because Cyprus,
No.
you're right up against Turkey.
No, thank you. That's not where I want to be. So yeah, it's like I just think it's a good time not to travel. No, it's like, well, I mean, to Vietnam is okay, but I wouldn't go to Turkey. But my friends, they do ministry to the Muslim community, and that's where they're going. They've been doing it for 3 years.
Really,
Yeah.
God bless them. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. All right, I'm going to ask you one more question. It looks like we're coming toward the end here. What?
Oh, okay, well, I get one after you because
Uh,
I'm already holding it in my hand for
Okay, we'll
proof.
do two. This is a simple one. What seemingly insignificant thing contributes greatly to your happiness? There's some little thing that happens that's insignificant maybe to most people, but it contributes greatly to Tony's happiness. What would that might be? Can you think of something?
No, I can't. Like you're talking about like some instant happiness thing. I can tell you that the most amusement I get a lot of times is from my head. So it's just a thought. Like if I'm driving, it's just a thought that comes up, and I'll just start fucking laughing, and I didn't even say anything. It's just a pure. So yeah, I
That's
would
it.
say that.
Reminds me of Dudley Moore from what was that movie with where he inherited all the money? Arthur. Arthur.
Arthur, right? He was the drunk,
He's
right?
like I just think funny thoughts
Arthur,
sometimes. He's laughing at his own jokes, and that's what they remind. I just think funny thoughts sometimes.
the
Oh,
butler. The
okay.
butler
Now,
was so
what's interesting
cafe.
because since that was in New York, this is a nice little connection to it. But
Right.
when I was a kid, I went to New York by myself one time just to roam around and just to be left alone. And I'm sitting in Central Park near.
Left alone.
It's tough to do, but I went
Fucking
into
fun.
Central Park, kind of where the Tavern on the Green is, walked a little bit more in
Right.
there, and sat down on a bench next to a guy who had about 20 squirrels around him. I'm like, what are you like? Are you like, I think I said Dr. Doolittle. And he said, you just have to know how to talk to him. And he'd go, like this little sound, and they'd all look at him and they'd jump right over on his lap and they're up on his shoulders and they're taking nuts out of his
Really?
hands. I'm like, that's crazy. So I took a nut and I made the same sound. And they took one out of my hand, and I decided that I love squirrels. And it's like at one time I went to Walmart here, it probably 9, 10 years ago, and this Hispanic dude had a tame pet squirrel on a little holster. His name was Diego, the squirrel. But I said, how do you do that? He said, only 1 in 20 squirrels can you train. The rest of them, and
Really?
you have to find them when they're babies, but most of them will run away from you. But that gives me the greatest joy in the world, walking my dog and just seeing the
Right.
squirrels, and I make a sound to them. They look at me like, how did you know how to say that? You know?
You're lucky you were nice to that guy because you probably could have also trained him to like attack,
That's true. Yeah.
batting those things away, right?
That was cool, man, having a little baby squirrel. Okay, now you have one more question for me, Mr. P.
If you could only have one, what would you choose? Money or power?
I'll take the money. I don't want power can be abused and it can get you killed and can make people hate you. But if I have enough money, I can buy a cushion around me to have people leave me be and people can leave me alone. So I think power would get you to the point where you had to kind of clash with some other
Eh,
kind of power.
But and then when I read the question, I couldn't help but think, well, if you have one, you probably have the other,
That's
right?
true. But it's like, well,
If you
when
had a shit ton of money, that carries a large degree of power, right? People are going to do whatever the fuck you want.
Well, the David from the Bible, his dad was Solomon, and Solomon was supposed to be the wisest man that ever lived. I mean, his some of his wisdom. That's what I read. I read the Proverbs, and that's all him. And Ecclesiastes is his. You know that there's a time. You know, there's for every season, turn, turn. That's based on Ecclesiastes. It's something that Solomon wrote. And God asked him, "Okay, look, you seem like you're doing exactly what I want. What do you want? I'll give you whatever you want." And he thought about it, and he said, "I want wisdom." And he says, and he goes, "You don't want power, you don't want money." He says, "If I have wisdom, I can get all those things." And he goes, "That is very
10-4,
smart.
right?
You're right."
Right.
That's right. It's like, give me the
It,
wisdom
at
to
that point, it
discern.
actually sounds like he has a great deal of wisdom.
Yeah, it's like, dude, jackpot,
Right?
you win the whole thing.
Right. You're off to a good start. Let's
And
put it that
he
way.
was the richest human being that ever lived, and smart too. I mean, he did this one thing. I just have to segue into this. Two women came and said, "This is my baby," and they both fought over it. So what he do? He's fine. There's only one thing to do. We're going to cut the baby in half, and you can each have half
Hey,
of it.
I don't want to interrupt, but I did. With the voiceover, we've talked about so many different voiceovers, right? And the obvious commercials and books, stuff like that. I was in Sam's Club today. That's why I was delayed. And then I'm going through, walking through, and then there's like an announcement that comes over the speaker, and it's a bit of a sales pitch about a particular product. And the guy sounded just like you. I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, that sounds like Kelly. And I wish I could have dialed it and had you hear it. And then I thought after that, I'm like, there's another avenue. I never even thought about that. These big box stores, they have a voice that makes the announcements, right?
Right. Well, there's ways that I actually audition for different things, kind of like that. I do stuff that all the time. I mean,
Yeah, it
because
was
that
real brief. It was like, 20, it was like something about, something in the freezer. I don't know, but it caught your attention. I mean, it caught my attention, but it caught my
yeah.
attention because I'd probably heard four announcements already by the time I was in there, but it sounded so much like you, dude. I'm like,
Well, there's a couple of times
he's
I've
got
tried to
this.
do. I've reached out and I've gotten auditions to. We're looking for a new spokesperson for our casino, and I thought,
Yeah,
what a gig that would be. And so I give them, one. I mean, different reads, but one of them was like this, and it's like this, and you're soaring along and you're seeing that, and you're thinking, oh, this is where I like to be. It's so comfortable. Something kind of that effect. And I
right.
thought, you know what? That's all you need is one. The best, the coolest auditions that I've taken is one of them said, "Okay, we're not going to tell you who it's for, but we're going to send you some. First, we send us your samples of what you like." And I sent them. I have 5 different samples, and I got 10 minutes later. It's like, "We want you to read for us. We're sending you a script, and it's not non-disclosure. You got to know that you can't say anything about this."
Right.
And so I look at it, and the name is blanked out. You just have to say blank because you're going to have to read online on Source Connect or something with somebody. So I do the read again, and it's one of those powerful reads, just like this. And I thought, this is right down my alley. And I got a call back, and they said, you are select. The client has picked you as one of the people that he wants to have in the finals. And
That's
so they sent
awesome.
me a new script, and it was for NFL television.
Fuck yes.
That's what you want. And I mean, they have a certain amount of data disclosed that you'll make this so much over this time of
Now,
period, but it's like you want to get heard once on national television so people go, "Who is that voice? That's my
I,
dream."
I'm sure it'll probably get detected, but when you're doing one, is there any way to like slip in a little something about the Lions or no?
Well, it depends on if they if they're Redskin fans, they may not like that too much, but then again,
Look
they
at
may
that
not.
from my buddy Lion Country Tony P. Well, I wonder where I got that from.
Hey, from
Joe,
someone who really
average
appreciates
Joe.
you. And during the Lions season, you'll see my matching one right up there. But right now, my Braves are five
Man,
and a half games ahead of the stupid Phillies, so I'm happy about that. So
yeah, last time I looked, and it's probably been a week or so. I don't know if the Tigers were scratched back into 500 ball or something. I'm not sure. They had a bit of a slump. That happened last year too. They were like a fucking heartbeat, kicking ass.
the only thing I like about the Tigers, and I'm not to talk bad about them, but I like Verlander's wife.
Yeah, Yeah, he's retiring this year too.
I
That's it.
know.
So he's
And
a family man.
he's still married to that girl. She was like the Sydney Sweeney of our time. What was her name?
Oh, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I forgot what it was too, but it's like that's the only thing I like about the Tigers is that. So, but anyhow, hey,
Well, I think I think he would probably end up getting into broadcasting. I mean, he has the look.
yeah,
He's well spoken. Verlander's wife, Kate Upton.
Upton, that's right. He threw her like a ball. That was the first time he met her. He threw like a souvenir baseball, and she's like, "Thank
Yeah,
you." And I'm like, "Oh, you're dead,
it's
man."
another sports Cinderella wedding.
No, no kidding, man.
But
Well, I
yeah, he's
think
got.
that's about all we got for today, right? Is that it? You got something else for me? We good?
The only thing I have for you, pal, is great admiration and appreciation for spending time with me.
Well, I also want to thank Western Restaurant Consulting, and they'll take your vision and deliver a thriving reality.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you folks very much for coming to join us. If you're curious about other things, we talk about all different kinds of stuff. Why? Because we're just two average Joes. That's who we are. So be good to everybody. Be nice humans, and have a very nice day. Take care. Talk to you next week, brother. Bye-bye.